What up, roomies? Tonight's guests are living proof that sometimes dreams that we have as kids don't always stay dreams. One of them has got his very first camera as a child and immediately started making movies with his toys, his sisters, and whatever he could get his hands on. The other fell in love with acting, storytelling, and the magic of bringing characters to life with discovering a passion for creating worlds behind the camera as well. Most people talk about making movies. Most people dream about making movies, but very few actually do it. Tonight we're sitting down with filmmaker, writer, director, and producer Erik Kaslov.
Exactly.
All right, alongside with producer, cinematographer, editor, actor, and creative force Larry Sands. Together, they've taken years of passion, setbacks, creativity, perseverance, and turned out into their first feature film, Hillsborough Road, a horror film inspired by the movies that made them fall in love with with cinema in the first place. Tonight, we're going behind the scenes of the filmmaking process from the very beginning to the very end. So, how do you go from an idea in your head to finishing a movie? What does nobody tell you about making a film? How many times did things almost fall apart? And what does it take to keep believing in a dream long enough to make it real? We're talking filmmaking, creativity, horror, storytelling, risk, failure, perseverance, and the reality of chasing something that most people will never achieve. Welcome to the show, Eric and Larry. Thank you
Awesome
guys for being
intro,
on.
man. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. That was great. That was quite an opening.
Thank you, guys. I try to give everybody their flowers in the beginning so we could get down to the
Wow.
nitty gritty. You feel me?
Yeah, man.
Oh, this is going to be pretty nitty gritty. I tell you,
Yeah.
when you talk, and when you start talking about creative stuff, as a creator and a creative, it's
Yeah,
kind of hard because you have to have other things to help uh, promote your habit
Yeah.
of creativity.
yeah,
So,
I
but
feel you,
yeah,
man. And film is a crazy medium because like not only are you trying to like represent something visually, but you also have to set the tone, put the
Yeah.
emotion in and make people feel something. So kudos to you guys on your first feature film, Hillsborough Road. That must be you guys
Thank you.
must feel amazing about it. So like since I knew Eric first, I will start off. Eric, since I got you here, right?
Yeah.
When you got that camera first as a kid, if I told you one day you'll be sitting here promoting your first feature film, what would younger Eric have believed me?
Oh my gosh. 7-year-old Eric?
Yep.
Probably not.
Little
Probably not.
Ericito.
No. No, definitely not. Little me growing up in Patterson, New Jersey, would have never thought making movies was possible. I didn't think people from New Jersey were allowed to make movies. I thought that was only, Los Angeles. People who know people could do stuff like that.
I
mm,
feel you on that, man. And like before we get into like how Hillsborough Road actually came about, like how did you guys link up together to actually like form this power force that you guys got going on?
Well, you want to take it, Larry, or should I?
yeah, no, no, we we met 20 some odd years ago in Los Angeles, in church, no less.
Yeah.
The man,
Nice.
the man on the other side of the podcast here, he is he, he's a murderer. He loves horror film. Not really a murderer, just to be clear.
We
But
know.
he loves horror films so
Not
much.
really.
Right, right, right. But we met in church, and automatically we
Yeah.
hit it off.
That's crazy how you guys are producing horror, but you guys met at church. That's
Yeah.
not that ironic.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Um,
praise God, but how are we gonna cut this guy up though?
Exactly. I almost went into full-time youth ministry. It was either Bible college or film school for me. Those were
Really?
my two choices. Yeah.
And what made you choose film school over Bible study?
Honestly, seeing the inside stuff in church, because I worked as a youth worker, it
Yeah,
was just, man, I don't like this side of it. And
Mhm.
I think that me, showing that you could love, horror movies and Jesus is a good example to people. You don't got to
Sure.
be in that box people always assume, Christians have to be in.
no, that's true. I got you on that. Like, there's a lot of dimensions to a person. So even though
Exactly.
you're a great person, you might have some dark stuff that comes out really great, like Stephen King. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes, I can attest to that.
Minus
Reading the
minus
script.
the reels and the bottles of whiskey. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
But so Larry, what's up, man? So like when you guys like said, you know what, let's make this movie together. Like, how did that go about? Like, tell me the story of like the manifestation of Hillsborough.
Man, Eric and I, we reconnected. We had, we didn't have contact with each other because he had moved back to Jersey from LA, and I had moved to Texas and back to LA, and we reconnected really, I think, in 2016, Eric,
About
something
that.
like
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
and we started our podcast, a something something podcast, just as a way to talk to Eric and really
Yeah.
just reconnect, and
It
especially
was
talk about
really
filmmaking.
just to make sure we were going to catch up. Like, you know what? No matter what, we're going to talk on mic on Wednesday. We're going to reconnect.
Yeah.
There was never a fallout. We were
Yeah.
both
Oh
just
no.
really
Yeah.
busy.
Yeah. And as we went along, we started talking about doing something more because as we progressed with our podcast, which is really, about the creative process, talking to actors, musicians,
Yeah.
filmmakers, authors, we started to think about something that we could do together. And man, we started, I think, when was it, Eric? 2020, we started doing
Well,
Hillsborough.
no, I was writing it before that, right when
Oh
we
no, forget that
reconnected.
because that was you've been living with Hillsborough Road for a long time.
8 years, 8 years now is how long
Yeah.
I've been working with the script. I was reading. Do you ever, Weird New Jersey, right? The
Yeah.
magazine.
Yeah.
Okay, so they have a compilation of it at the library, a bunch of the stories. I originally, for some reason, New Jersey has a lot of haunted roads. I don't
Yeah.
understand that. So I read about Clinton Road, and I originally wanted to do like an anthology movie based on all of those stories, but it didn't work. Then I flipped through the pages and I see this thing in Hillsborough, New Jersey called Pig Lady Road. And if you
Okay.
see this picture, it's this crazy looking lady attacking a car with an axe.
Oh shit.
And I was like, man, this is pretty cool. But I knew enough that you can't own an urban legend, but I also had to make it my own. So it went from being a pig lady to a pig boy. And originally, it wasn't going to be set in the 80s. And then the more I worked, I was like, you know what? This movie needs something to help it stand apart. So then I set it in the 80s, which again, I wish I could go back in time and stop that Eric from setting it in the 80s, but it was the right thing for the movie.
What you mean? Stop it. The 80s was a fun decade.
Oh
You
yeah.
Oh,
know?
the making of it was tough.
Oh
Making
yeah, yeah,
sure
yeah.
it's era Pacific was
Oh yeah,
really
yeah.
tough.
No, I believe that one because you're gonna have to make sure that when you're on set that everything is anything 2020 or below
Exactly.
is
Yeah.
Yeah.
got to be out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know how that feels because I did some PA work and I worked on a couple of Spike Lee movies, so I know how.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I know how that goes, man. But
Yeah.
but the pig lady story that inspired Hillsborough, what was the actual urban legend?
There's so many. It's like in fact, in the script, in the movie, there's a bunch of different versions of the story. It's mainly if you go to this area in Hillsborough, New Jersey, and you get to this dead end road and shout pig lady, the ghost of a woman comes out and attacks you. That's one story. Then there's a bunch of other versions. So I
Okay,
just took that and, put my own twist on it.
okay, that's dope. That's dope. So like, so when the muse hit you and you started like writing your own version of this urban legend, right? When and it took what? Oh, it took you about what 8 years? You said. to like
From
completing?
starting the script to making it, yeah.
All right. So when you were writing the script, like, how did you keep like the mojo flowing that you didn't? Because I know Urban Legend is a very short story, right? So
Yeah.
like, how did you keep the mojo going on like building this world and like making sure it was era accurate and like having all the characters match up and all that?
I do a lot of outlining and a
Okay.
lot of playlists in Spotify. A lot of playlists to keep myself in that mood. And when
Yeah.
I was writing it, I was watching a lot of 80s slasher movies.
Okay.
So this to keep myself there. So that's what helped with the writing a lot was doing all that pre-work.
Okay. Okay. So like, Larry, when Eric approached you with Hillsborough, and you probably already knew about it, like, what was your first like thought on like, is this gonna become real? Is this like, are we really gonna bring this to life?
Well, I just want to point out, Larry, talk about the other movies you've done because you've acted in
Oh
features
yeah,
before.
yeah,
So mention
yeah,
some of that
yeah.
stuff.
And there's a before when I was living in LA as an actor, did like national commercials, V8 Splash, Sega, when Sega was big,
That's
the
my
Pound
childhood
and
right there.
Cheese. That's right, that's right. Uh, but really, we living in LA as an actor. And I live by this today, right? As an actor, you really have to kind of wait for people to look at you and go, hey, you'd be pretty good for this role. You have to wait for them to cast you or to be inspired by you. And so, one thing I learned early on is that really, as a creative, and even today, even, we talk to so many creative people that just do it. And I think, um, when our first horror movie was called Recycled Parts, and this was early on, like around 2007, 2008, when Netflix was just starting. So it was on Netflix for a while. It's
Dope.
about a body parts collector, um, and I I don't know if you can get it anymore, but it was on DVD, and so that was our first feature. I mean, we did all our own practical effects. We cut people's legs off, we cut people's heads off, and it was freaking awesome and amazing. Did a delivered a baby.
Nice.
It was the ultimate. It was so much fun, and then putting it together and seeing it come together and doing our own music for it. I was just like, man, this is it. This is the bee's knees. Did a adjusting honor about a Army war vet coming home from with PTSD.
Yeah.
Um, uh, so knowing my thought process and the want to when Eric started talking to me about it, I knew that it was just going to be probably me and him and a camera, and because everything I've ever really done was with a small crew. We cast it and we did it. We edited because when you just have a camera and a microphone, you can do anything with somebody that you can bounce off of and believe in. And so when he told me about it, I was like, all right, when you coming down? Because he's in Jersey, I'm in Texas, and this was um and the 2020, the end of
Mhm.
2020 going into
Yeah.
2021 is when we
Yeah.
shot it. And when you're when you're doing a movie in the 80s and you're on a short budget, you really got to be creative. But
Well,
we were, oh, go ahead, Eric, go ahead.
no, go on. Then I'll say
Oh,
the things that really helped the movie with our
oh,
budget and the
oh,
time period.
man, we found car shows like old 80s like car people. They
Yeah.
lent us their cars. They were, we found this big giant monster truck that's in the movie, and
Yeah.
you know when you need stuff, and I'm a firm believer in like putting it out there,
True.
you know and it just I don't want to say it showed up. We had to look for it, and we had really good people that we worked with, like on our crew, that was behind us 100%, and they saw it, and they were like, let's do this, I'll help you do whatever you need to do. We had a great production manager that helped out a lot.
Yes.
We had a great camera guy, audio, and then it was just me and Eric
And we
doing
got to
blood.
give a big shout out to Al, Micah and
Oh,
Kyle.
yeah,
Kyle and his family own a hunting reserve in Texas,
yeah.
and
Fire.
they let us film on it for free.
Two
A
weeks.
whole 30 days we were there, dude.
Was it 30 days?
It was a month. It took us a month. I was there a whole month. Yeah.
Well, you were here. See, it's crazy
That's
because
dope though.
yeah, it is very, and you know what? I
And
will tell
then
you
a
this.
school let us film for free
Right.
because of Micah. And
Right.
Larry found like a frozen custard place that let us film for
Yeah.
free.
Yeah.
Fire.
It's really great. It's
Yeah.
really great. So yeah.
And I was about to say, how did you guys like manage to get all the locations? Because I know that was like the tail end of the pandemic, and people were still kind of like a little freaked out about human contact and all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not in Texas.
Oh
You
yeah,
know what?
true. Texas is a wild place, boy.
Yeah.
It's like the Wild West. You know what? And we did the responsible thing, because at that time we had like a protocol, like
Yeah.
our camera guy was COVID certified or whatever, so he was that, and then we asked people, do you want us to wear masks? And they were like, you can if you want. So, when you're deep into it, man, and you're running on coffee and donuts, you're just like, you know what? Forget the mask. Let's just go. Let's
Yeah,
just put it
yeah.
on and go. So,
No,
but
no, but Texas had the right idea of like just letting everybody do their thing. They had the right idea though, and
Yeah.
and the crazy thing about it is like when you ask the universe for something, and I'm a firm believer in this. When you ask the universe for something, even though you gotta look a little bit,
yeah,
9 out of 10 times it shows up, unless it's like it's really not for you.
yeah,
Exactly. I think the problem is, with manifesting is people, they'll manifest these things that they want, but they sit on their couch
Yeah,
and they don't go out. It's like there's that story about there's this guy who wants to win the lottery, and he keeps going to church saying, God, let me win the lottery. He does it for a week. Then finally, the church roof blows off, and the voice of God says, meet me halfway, buy a ticket.
of course.
right,
Because without any action, it's like the law of the universe. Without any action, there's no reaction. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
And
yeah.
especially if you got good vibes, people are more than inclined to help.
Exactly. I fully believe that. Yeah.
One thing that I do know, and for everybody listening, that in this day and age, when you're a creative person, heck, whenever you do anything, and if you say what you're going to do, or if you say something and you do it, that really shows, and that helps people believe in you even
Yep.
more. So yeah,
And
everything. I'm sorry, Eric, and once you get on a roll,
finish your
you know how I am.
yeah, but we also have to mention the other real hero of this movie, our entertainment lawyer, Robert, who
Yeah.
has worked on a bunch of stuff with me. He
Yeah.
believed in the script right away and basically said, okay, you guys do it Indiegogo. Whatever you get, I'll match.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we were able to raise about a little over $5,000,
Yeah.
and he matched it pretty much dollar for dollar, and then some
Yeah.
with post production. And the reason for that is, he helped me make my first real short when I moved back to New Jersey, and I showed him that I can do what I say I do. I'm very respectful to actors and to him and to everybody. So he saw that me and Larry, when we say we're going to do something, we do it.
Yep. And that's super important in this day and age, especially in 2026, because a lot of people will say they want to do stuff, and then they I don't want to say they attempt it, because they don't even attempt it anymore. They just say they want to do it and never even look at a way to make it happen for themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think it's because of the fact that we're living in this age where everything is instant. If it's not like an instant process for most people, they don't even want to attempt it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I think reality TV has skewed everybody's perception of actually working for a living as
Yeah.
opposed to watching somebody. And really, it kind of started with the Kardashians because they were famous for doing nothing. But what you didn't see behind the scenes was the momager, getting her all these things and them hustling and waking up and doing. They were putting in the work, even though you didn't see the work. You just saw them kind of, hanging out and doing and going places. And I think it's, I think it's kind of screwed our reality and our perception of things that are going on now. So, and
No,
especially with the content creation too. So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I got that a lot because remember what people don't really put out the journey, they usually put out the destination. You know what I mean?
right. Yeah.
Yes.
They're
Yeah.
like, hey, I finally, and this is just an example. Oh, I finally made it to 1 million subs or whatever. And they're like, yeah, they're celebrating it, they're showing that off, but they're not showing, the 20 hours a day they did for 3 years, and
Yeah.
Exactly.
all the
Yeah.
storyboards they took down, and the
Yeah.
failed ideas that they had to scrap. They're not showing none
Yeah.
of that. They're showing
Right.
the victories, and they're not really showing the pitfalls. And the pitfalls, if you really think about it, is what really brings you up.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
makes you
Exactly.
better.
And that's the stuff
Yeah.
I've always found more interesting. Like, you're wearing a Jaws t shirt right now. We could all talk about the making of that movie, how nothing went right. The
Yeah,
shark did not work at all.
Bruce.
If it wasn't for that struggle of that movie getting it made, the summer blockbuster would not exist.
true.
Schindler's List, Jurassic Park, none of that happens. And, this Thursday, I'm not going to see the disclosure day if there wasn't the struggle of getting that shark to work.
True,
Right.
because Spielberg himself said that whole movie, that whole set was cursed.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Now, do you know there's this whole thing how if you watch, there's the scene in Jaws where he's talking to the mom about her son that just got killed. In the back of that, you see something that looks very similar to the Amityville horror house.
hey,
And they say because it's Amityville, even though it's not the same one as in Long Island, that curse affected the movie.
oh, bro, damn.
Yeah.
Nah, but
Yeah.
God bless Spielberg.
Yeah.
He's done amazing work. Amazing work.
Oh, the goat, without a doubt, the
Yeah.
goat.
Yeah.
Yep. And I think also he directed E.T., right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
him.
Yeah.
And then he gave up, and E.T.'s in the Star Wars universe and all that. So amazing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. And Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh man, Indiana
Well,
Jones was
no.
really cool. The new one wasn't all that great. I'm not
Oh
gonna lie
God,
about it.
no.
But
It wasn't him at all. No.
the first two were amazing though.
Yeah.
Well, no. Larry was pointing out if you watch, there's two things with Indiana Jones that connect the Star Wars on the Ark of the Covenant.
Yeah.
If you look really good, R2 and 3PO are on it.
No, they're not.
They're on
Oh,
the
shit.
handle. Yeah, yeah. Because the Lucas and Spielberg are best friends.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
they did that. And then there's the Han Solo theory. Do you guys know about this?
What's
No.
the Han Solo theory?
When Han Solo is frozen in carbonite, the dream he's having is the Indiana Jones trilogy.
Mind blown. No, but the thing about it is that it makes so much sense that it would be.
Right. Right.
Yeah, because all this stuff that happens to him should not happen.
That
All the luck that he has in those movies.
Right.
really, yeah, that's so true, so true. But wow, so you guys had gotten all the things that you guys needed, and you filmed it in a month.
Yeah.
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 How was that? Was that like a crunch, like a real big crunch for you guys, or like was it like the pacing was kind of even?
Oh, it was crazy. It was what?
Yeah.
It was 95% night shoots, and anybody that it was
And
so
outdoors.
yeah, yeah. So in the elements,
Yeah,
uh, I know that, because when you shoot a film, and especially if you have night shoots and day shoots, you don't want to mix and match them, right? So you want to do a block of your day shoots, and then you want to do your night shoots. We decided to do our night shoots second, right, Eric? Because I think that I think
Yeah, but
what
then
we did is we shot at the high school in the morning, and then we went out to the ranch for the night shoots that would continue on for the rest of the shoot. And I remember we set up a really cool shot at the high school, and then
yes.
as soon as it's almost like a blur when you go to shoot, and everybody when you're an indie filmmaker
yeah.
and maybe musician, and you don't have too much time, and you've got too much time and not a whole lot of money, um, you want to be able to kind of relish in the thought, and wow, we should
Yeah.
remember this, and we were so busy. There's a couple pictures of me and Eric, and we looked worn out, and we were
Yeah.
ragged, and we were just like we were having the time of our life, because we would go to bed at 5 in the morning and be back out at the ranch like around 3 or 4 to get everything kind of set up
What was cool
pre-production
is
and everything.
a lot of the cast were just staying at the ranch. There's like the hunting reserve.
Yeah,
There's a house there that they would rent.
and
So
a
the
house
cast just took it over.
and a house is saying very, very
Yeah,
politely.
that's yeah, yeah.
It was a kitchenette, and it was a small little living room, and then
And a
a
bedroom.
nice side bedroom with a couple bunks, and everybody was shacking up there, man. We would wake up, we would shoot, everybody would go to bed, and that's where everybody lived. Yeah, it
I've
was
got to
great.
tell
That's
some
dope.
funny stories about the
Yeah.
first few days out there. I was staying on the ranch. Now you got to
Yeah.
understand, I'm a kid from Patterson, New Jersey. I'm sure you've heard of that. I've lived in Los Angeles, so I'm on a ranch for the first time, in
Uh-uh.
Texas for the first time. We get to the
Eric?
ranch, and
Yeah.
all I hear is this screaming outside, like, "Ah, ah," and I thought, oh, great, there's demons outside. I wake up, there's peacocks.
Yeah.
Peacocks make this terrifying scream. Hold
Yeah.
on 1 second, guys.
It really,
Yeah. Yeah.
no lie, Larry. And you know what's crazy? I when Eric contacted me about you doing the podcast with you guys, I was in the Dominican Republic myself, and this is going based off of what he's saying about peacocks because they sound horrible.
Oh, they sounds like
They sound
somebody
like
Yes.
dying.
demons.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
the thing about it is like I'm from like a rural area in the Dominican Republic. So we have peacocks on our property and whatever. And like the first night I'm there, I'm hearing like this demonly roar throughout the
Yes.
back.
Yeah. Oh
So I
yeah.
don't know what's
And
up.
here's a fun
Okay.
fact for
Here's
everybody.
another
Wait,
thing.
wait,
I
wait,
got
wait,
one
wait.
more.
Okay,
One
okay,
more.
okay, go. Okay, go.
I wake up in the morning and there's just wild horses hanging out outside of the property.
That's
I'm like,
fire. I'm not gonna lie.
I've seen
That's
horses
amazing.
at the racetrack my whole life, but I've never been, within walking distance of them. Oh, and then we killed a deer. That was fun.
Oh, oh yeah. 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 Okay. So it wasn't. We didn't actually. I hit a deer. No, the deer hit us. We were okay. So we were. We were a couple days away, right, Eric? We hadn't started shooting yet, had we?
I remember the whole day perfectly, man.
Oh
We were
well,
doing what is called a tech shoot. A
yeah.
tech shoot is when the team, for those of you listening who might not know, that's when the director and like the cinematographer and sound guy walk around and, this is where we're going to film this. So we do that. We hadn't eaten anything. We had my assistant, who's also an actor in the movie, with us. So it's about 11 or 12 o'clock at night, and we're hungry. Now, you're from the city. I'm from Jersey. We could usually eat something anytime we want, but we're in the middle of nowhere. So we get in Larry's truck. We're driving down all these ranches, and it's completely dark. And we're all talking about something, and then out of nowhere, a deer shows up. We slam the brakes, but we still hit the deer. And I thought we had to report it to the cops. I'm like, oh man, we're going to jail. I'm going to have to tell our lawyer. More terrifying, my mom's going to find out about this.
Okay. In all of my defense, so going down, obviously growing up in Texas, back roads, trying to go to a gas station, an all-night gas station to see what they have to eat because we were hungry. But going down, pitch black, and I see the deer coming, and he's poking. I was like, oh man! And I'm not going fast at all. I start moving. The deer starts coming at us, and no joke. Eric starts screaming bloody murder. I see the deer go like this as it runs into the car. Literally, I was moving.
It was like the scene in Tommy Boy.
Oh gosh. It was hilarious. It wasn't hilarious, but it was one of those things where it's like unbelievable. And we were getting ready to shoot. That was our only mode of transportation of getting, because I would stay in Georgetown and Austin and come out. And I was like, oh crap, how's this going to happen? But man, what a way to kick off, when you do a horror film, you really want to go out and start with a bang. That's what it was.
You definitely did. You definitely sacrificed something to the film gods that night.
It was such a culture shock for me too, being in Texas, because you need to drive everywhere.
Yeah.
You can't just walk out and, go to a bodega and get a chopped cheese. They don't even know what a chopped cheese is in Texas or anything like that.
Mozzarella sticks?
No. And then the other thing is, I remember we got pizza for a scene, and I was eating it and I went, this is a Texas 5, but in New Jersey 2.
Listen, the thing about it, I don't want to get into the argument about it. I'm going to say like this: East Coast pizza always prevails, number one, across the country.
There's something about it. Is it the water? Because it is delicious.
Completely, yes.
It is.
I think it's the Italian immigrants.
It's unbelievable. I was like,
no, dude.
Even the bagels are different.
There was this pizza place in LA. These guys from New York went to start a pizza place there, and it didn't taste right. So they found out there's chemicals in the New York water that's different than LA. So they found out what it was and did that to the water, and they started doing great business because it tasted like New York, not just like, but as close as you can get to New York pizza.
The way you say chemicals in the water, Eric.
Yeah.
All the microplastics and stuff.
Exactly.
Exactly. And here's a quick fun fact, just to go back to the peacocks. When you watch the movie, and it will be out very soon. When you watch the movie and you listen very, very carefully, you can hear the yell of a peacock every so often. Because we would shoot, and obviously been on a schedule. We would shoot, we hear like the peacock scream bloody murder. We'd look at the sound guy, he goes, you can't do anything. He said, okay, great, let's go, let's keep moving, let's go. So what can you do? So fun fact, when you listen, when you watch,
that's dope as shit, because like I said, when I was in the Dominican Republic, like them things sound like little demons.
Yeah,
and they'll just do it like randomly throughout the middle of the night. You be there in your fifth dream, all you hear is one of them shits shouting. You be there like, the fuck?
In the middle of the night when people are sleeping.
Yeah.
So yes, or shooting.
Asshole birds. I swear to God.
And they're like the prettiest ones too, and they're the ones that sound like demons. I mean, crows. Okay, yeah, they should sound like demons. Those things are scary, but peacocks,
beautiful. Yeah. Yeah.
Terrifying sound. But like, so when you guys were like filming, was there any times where you had to like say, okay, cool, we have to kind of like improvise on this scene because this is not like matching up the way it should be?
Yeah, there I can't give too much away, but there was a scene when they're playing the game Pig Boy that it
Okay.
was supposed to take place outside, and each time they say his name, they were supposed to get closer to the house. But that night it was raining,
Mm,
so we had to do the whole thing inside this one house, and
Mhm.
it made the scene way better, I
Yeah.
think. And there was another thing where Robert, our lawyer at EP, who's also an actor, is in the movie, is in the scene, but he couldn't be there till a week later.
yeah.
So the characters, one from one direction to a week later, act over here, then the response over here is last week. So yeah, there's a lot of things you got to do on the fly when you have such a low budget and you're as independent as we are. You have to think on your feet constantly.
No,
Yeah.
I get that. I get that, man. You were saying
I
that?
will. I will add to that is, you know, when you read something on paper, it's very different than when you get actual to the location and on location. So you really have to, as a filmmaker, in my humble opinion, you have to really know where you're coming from, what you're doing, and where you're going to, right? In order
Okay.
to keep the continuity. Although I keep thinking about making a movie and a guy wearing rings and they like switch fingers every so often and see if people catch the continuity. But you really do, and it's like Eric said, when you're an indie filmmaker, you
Yeah.
really have to hurry up, but you have to take your time. And I think if you let it get to you, I think you could try to run yourself ragged. But I will say that it's just like Eric said with the because we called it the Hell House because it was a
Yeah,
mess. It was crazy. It was yeah.
I believe it.
It was dirty and it was great. It was beautiful because we lit it up with the some lighting and stuff, and
yeah,
it was just really great. But just like when you like speak, when you say stuff and you mean it, and I guess if it's manifestation, you just say it. But especially, in filmmaking, like you always want to go in like with a clear vision, but also you want to be able to pivot. And when we pivoted, that's when the house it became a character for the rest of
yeah,
the movie, right? So
True.
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it happens. I guess in all that things happen the way that they're absolutely supposed to happen to be caught
Completely
on
believe
film
that.
and everything. So yeah, yeah.
I got you on that. I got you on that. So like when Eric, when you finish the script and Larry, you read the script and you guys are on location on set, was there any time where you was like, this isn't matching up with like what I had in my head, or like was your imagination a little bit more grandioso than like the set
Yeah,
that was
see, that's
available,
the
so you
thing.
had to like spruce
Oh
things
yeah,
up to match up?
yeah, you got to understand when you write a movie, it's the size of a regular basketball.
Yeah.
But then you got to take that regular basketball and those little hoops with the foam basketball.
Yeah.
You got to figure out how do I get this regular size basketball through a hoop that's this big. So there's got to be a lot of, like you said, spoofing it, trying to see how can you do this. You envision the shot this way, but you can't get the camera that way. So how do you do this? So
Yeah.
that's why I was blessed to have Larry, Nathaniel, and Elijah as my team, and the actors also all did a great job of taking. As a director, it's your idea, but
Yeah.
then when you get on set, you got to understand you have a whole team of people who are going to throw in their thing. And a good director says, everybody, come on, let's play together. A bad one would say, no, this is how I envisioned it. You make it happen. You have to be willing to say, okay, how do we make this better? This is how I wanted it, but how can we do this? How do we actually get it done now?
Yeah.
Now I get
Yeah.
that because you might have an actor positioned in a certain place, and from his perspective, the shot might look better. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
that might be something that as a director or as the producer or any crew member, you might have not thought of in the originally. You're like, holy shit, but that really works out better than what we thought it would.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And I remember because at this point, when Eric and I, because we did everything on Zoom, we
Mhm.
casted on Zoom, we did read throughs on Zoom. I distinctly remember setting. And this was at my mom's house, and I was talking to Eric and going, look, man, we got to kind of set up and be ready for your shots. So how do you envision this shot? Look on page whatever, whatever, and let's read it, let's look at it. How are you going to set it up and shoot it? And then again, when the best laid plans kind of go to shit when you get out
Yeah.
there and you go, oh crap, we don't have time to do that. So
Yeah.
Eric, come here. Let's do this. Nathaniel, come here. Our camera guy. Look, what if we do this? What if we move this and do this and swing and just I think when you do your homework going into and I think you can think grandiose, but really again, as an indie filmmaker, everybody wants to go in and think this is going to be the best, but when you get there, you're going to be like, no, I'm going to make it the best with
Yeah.
what I have at my disposal. And I think,
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
think Eric, I give kudos to Eric because he was very amiable. And he's like, all right, let's show me, let's do it. What do you
Yeah.
got?
I don't
And
think I ever said, no, this is how I want it. I don't,
no,
there was
no,
only two times on set I went, you know what? No, that's not how I wanted it. And
right,
it was because the things just wouldn't work for the story.
right,
Okay.
right.
But I was never like mean about it. I don't think I was just like,
No.
no, listen, that's cool, but that doesn't work for this story.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So you were really on the this is how I needed it because that's what were the connecting fibers of the story. It
Exactly.
it wasn't like you were like, no, we shouldn't shoot it this way because of X, Y, and Z. This is the look I want. It was more of a now we can't clip that because then shit doesn't make sense.
Exactly. Yeah. Because again, I'm not a dictator. I'm a director, and I
Yeah.
want to have fun with my cast and crew. I think when you give everybody enough freedom, they're going to do something great. Like one of our actresses, I had written a scene a certain way, and she said to me, yeah, my character wouldn't do that. Now, a lot of directors would get mad and go, no, I am the director. And I went, okay, cool. How would she do it?
Yeah.
There was like one line where, since I speak New Jersey, instead of saying, Larry and I are going to go, I say, yeah, me and Larry. But
Yeah.
with this character, I realized, hey, would your character say me and this person or I and this person? He's like, you know what? I think he would say I and this person. Oh, okay, do it like that. Whatever you feel the character would say.
Yeah. But I think that me and this person thing is an East Coast thing because we do that here all the time.
Oh yeah, yeah, completely.
Yeah.
That's a tri-state area thing completely.
Oh snap. So so like after you guys were done like shooting and whatnot, and you wrapped everything up. How long was the process in post production?
Woo! 5 years.
Goddamn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the reason, look, and I think when you're an actor and you go from because there's a lot of moving parts when you have because when you have two people in a scene you have different dialogue in the matches and it's a lot. It's like putting 1,000 piece puzzle together,
Yeah.
one piece at where you're looking at all these the video and the audio when you bring it into your editing software. um And I
See, Larry, you're right about putting a puzzle together, but you forgot to mention you're also blindfolded and trying to put this puzzle together while you have headphones on and someone's hitting you with a wiffle ball bat.
it was pretty tough. I mean, I really feel for Eric because he really did the string. He put it together,
Yeah.
and he gave it to me, and went through it, and massaged it, and cut some stuff quicker. I never cut the story because obviously whatever is on the page we kept, but
Yeah.
just reactions and this and that and everything. So Eric had the heavy lifting. Obviously, giving it, and go, hey, can you fine cut this and everything. But it's a lot. It's a lot. And I felt for Eric. I really, and I still do. And I don't think people understand, especially actors.
I started taking anxiety medicine while
Yeah.
we were editing the movie. I mean, it really affected me
Yeah.
bad.
No,
Like,
Yeah.
but then people got to understand also is, we work, we were doing PR
Yeah.
for Korean. And
Yeah.
right after Hillsborough Road, because we're idiots, 2 months later, we ran a film festival and
Right.
paranormal convention because we didn't have anything better to do during a worldwide pandemic but travel to Nauvoo, Illinois.
And it was awesome.
Why not?
It was,
Why not though?
yeah. Yeah. That's, what I think, going, when you kind of step back, I think, and this kind of always, it goes back to the podcast, the something podcast, is
Yeah.
it's allowed us to be able to step into our own creativity, and really look at ourselves in a way where everybody we talk to, it's we understand the process, and it's helped us understand. Does it make it any easier? No.
No.
Being creative is still, it's hard. it's
Yep.
it's really hard, and to try
Yeah.
to be consistent, it's tough, it's challenging. But yeah, I mean, when you take a monstrosity and you whittle it down to, I think it's right now, what, 2 hours, hour and 90 minutes or something.
No, a
um
little less than that
a
now.
little
Like an
less,
hour
but
20, an hour 25.
yeah, yeah. And we shot our own practical stuff, and it's just, it when you look at it, it's
But to
hard
talk a
not to be
little
proud of
more,
it.
I am very, but about the post, then it took us a while to find someone to color the movie.
Yeah.
That took a while.
And we did our own music. We
Finding someone to do music took a
Yeah.
while. Finding a distributor. I mean, we're at the point now where there's legally stuff we can't talk about yet.
Yeah.
Of course, when we can, we're going to come back on, and talk about it.
Yeah.
Of
But
course. Of course.
we're at the end game right now. We're like any minute now, we could get a phone call saying, here's your release date.
And that's what we're looking forward to the most. But this goes back to like what I was saying in the beginning. You guys are not just creating something visual, you're creating this array of emotions, this like it is a story, but like this journey that you're taking the viewer and the audience on, where the color grade, you guys said it yourself, the color grading, the music, the lighting, how everything has to work in tandem in order for somebody to immerse themselves in the creative world that you made.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll say this for myself because I edit all my stuff. Coloring's a bitch.
Yeah.
Coloring's a bitch.
Yeah.
To put it lightly, yes. Yeah. Oh, that, you know what? That's a talent unto itself. So
Yes.
kudos to you. Congratulations.
Yeah, man.
That's a lot.
Seriously.
That's a lot. That's
People don't
Yeah.
understand color and sound are so important in a movie. When they work right, you don't realize it. But when they're wrong, especially sound, man, everybody always talks about, you can shoot a movie on your phone. Yeah, you can, but you better have great mics. You better be recording your sound separately, because if not, there's no point in doing your movie without good sound. And
No, that's what it is. Even coming down to like even the podcast level, without great audio, there's no good show. You know what I mean? This is what
yes,
This is what people, and as a consumer, right? You kind of like take all this for what's the term I want to use? We take it for granted, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because since we're so used to like this high level of professionalism as a consumer, that when you actually come down to it, when you bring yourself into the creative slot, you're like, holy shit, like I didn't know these elements, or because you could shoot like, and this is not downplaying you guys or anything. I'm just saying as an example, you could shoot, a dog chasing a ball for half an hour, right? But if you have the right angles, the right music, the right coloring of it, that could be the most exciting shit in the world.
Oh, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
You
yeah.
know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So
Oh
like,
yeah.
from the consumer point of view, we do take all those things for granted.
Very much, very
Yeah.
much. I will say that Brooks, Laby,
Yeah.
is our music supervisor. He did all the music, and it's funny because we live with it, and we take it for granted. And we're there, we're putting it together. And Eric and I always look, and I just sent him the poster today. I was like, man, I got to be on the
Yeah.
phone so you could see it. But I was like, dude, let's get on and watch this together with music. And I kid you not, music makes all the difference.
It's a
Yeah.
completely
It,
different movie
it
than when
is.
we
It
first
is.
watched
It
it.
is. It is. It is. It's amazing. Of what it's weird to hear you say, because I don't think you think about it. I don't think creative people think about it. All the stuff that they do, and to hear you talk about it is like, oh my God, that's a lot of stuff. Because
Yeah.
we just sit down and we just do it, and people, they watch it, they listen to it. And I think that's when you go to watch a movie, or when you listen to your favorite music and you know what kind of goes into it, you get this whole new perspective of like, oh my God, it moved me. But just to think about the setup and the camera and then the music, and then it gives me chills to know and to think, that we are a part of that. Like all of us have that um that authority, or that not authority, but that thing that we get to put people in front of and make them feel. So yeah, it was cool. And just to hear you say it's just really cool,
Yeah,
actually, to hear you say it.
because at the end of the day, in post production is like, when you're producing the actual thing, and I will say this from my very limited, super limited experience, working out in production, and being an amateur editor and all that myself. Like when you go from like filming something to being in front of your laptop or whatever station you're using and whatever program you're using, and then you're putting all the pieces together, you're there like, oh, how can I make this better? Oh, let me add this sound effect.
Yeah,
let
yeah,
me let me bring down the exposure on this. Oh, let me color grade it this way.
yep.
And then you have it all like that, and then you're there like, wow. Because you're not only like I said before, you're not only feeding the visual aspect, they're feeding all your other senses too. Your sound perception, and you're toying with people's emotions. You're bringing them along. You're
Yeah, yeah,
suspending them and all that shit.
Yeah.
It's an amazing process.
It is very much,
yeah.
very much, very much. And I can tell you that editing, because you go in and you can shoot whatever, but if and I think that you probably know this, and Eric, I know you know this, is when you edit, there's a flow and a rhythm to editing, and when you get it right and you're able to get it right, it really comes through in editing, because you can make a terrible actor look like
Look good.
Marlon Brando.
Yeah,
And
Yeah,
if you don't do too good of a job, you can do vice versa. You can make the greatest actor look like, you know, a
like they
puppet.
got shot on like they got shot on the iPhone.
Right. And you know
exactly.
what?
Yeah,
I will
yeah,
tell you that everybody we talk to, and I am a firm believer that with your iPhone, you can create a movie, because
Yeah,
it shoots in 4K and it does this and it does that. And as long as you have good sound, anybody that wants to, and I think you have to. this is one thing that we always talk about is you have to pick up your phone. If you want to be a filmmaker, go pick up your phone and
Yeah.
just do it. Don't worry about the sound. Look at the angles. Look at this, and
Yeah.
it goes back really to what you said, Eric. In your opening about just having the inspiration to do it. And I think that's what it takes, because if you're not inspired by something, then you don't do it. But if you are inclined and you just go, man, I don't know, I'm scared, screw it. You got to do it. And I think that's really what we did. I think with Hillsborough Road is we just said, screw it, let's do it. And
Yeah.
look at what we came out with. And it's
I
great.
think desperation has a big part to do with it. When,
Yeah.
no, really, when you have a story you want to tell, something you want to achieve, you need to be desperate to be able to get it done. You
Yeah.
need to be willing to do anything, a GoFundMe, a Kickstarter, Indiegogo, whatever you have to do, because it's hard to do one of those and ask people for money to help you go play pretend, because
Yeah.
that's literally what you're doing, is going
Yeah.
to play pretend as an adult
Yeah.
with a bunch
Yeah.
of other adults and saying, hey, give me $20 so I can do this and I'll thank you for it.
Yeah.
That it's tough to hear no. And if you're going to
Yeah.
work in this industry, you've got to be so comfortable with the word no that it's part of you already, that it doesn't mean anything to you.
Yeah, and I'm glad you use uncomfortable, because I think, man, this, you don't want to get used to being uncomfortable, but you have to get used to the notion that you're going to be doing it 9 times out of 10 by yourself.
Yeah.
And I tell you, and I say that knowing full well, is Eric and I, we have a partnership, and you know, I've always told Eric, look, we're friends, but when we start doing this, we're going to be business partners, and we hold ourselves accountable. And I
Yeah.
think that's okay. Um, uh, but when you go in and see, this is a thing on our podcast, and I know how the struggle is real when you're a creative person, especially when you're an actor, when you have to wait and for people to cast you. At least when you have a camera and you have a story, you can go out and you can go shoot stuff, and now you're the one going, hey, you look like an actor, come on and shoot, right? And you kind of hold your own creativity in your hand. But even though you have to wake up every day, you have to inspire yourself. You can look at Steven Spielberg and you can think about Jaws, but what is your story? Because there were times where I woke up and I was working like even a little bit like during our production of Hillsborough Road. And I remember doing our Indiegogo on Instagram, going out to LA. I was driving to LA for a job,
Yeah.
and just I was stopped at Cracker Barrel, and it was like we had, I don't know, like we had just hit like 2 or 3 grand, and I did a post in I was in Phoenix, and those are the stuff that you're just like, man, I'm tired, I don't want to do it, but knowing Eric, he was getting ready to come out. We were already
Yeah.
getting ready. I think we were cast, and just that you have to inspire yourself. You have to be your biggest fan, because 9 times out of 10, people are gonna go, "Wow, man, why are you so tired? What do you do all day?"
Yeah.
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 And it's like it's crazy, but you know, it's worth it. You look
Not 100% worth it.
you look at your
Yeah.
stuff, and you're like, okay, that's cool.
Exactly.
I remember the times I didn't sleep, and God bless you, Eric, man. I mean, look at what you created and gave us, and
Thank
look at
you.
what we both did. And
Yeah.
I think we have to, as creators, because listen to other creators go, I don't know, oh shucks. Hey, we made it. We made a fucking
Yep.
movie, a
Yeah.
That's
horror
a fact.
movie that's gonna come out.
Yeah.
It's gonna be out. People are gonna look at it. They're going to like it. They're going to love it. Maybe not. Maybe so. It's going to be out. And we're
Yeah.
going to
Definitely
be
will
on
be
it.
out.
So, yeah. 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 And you will be the first one to know when it comes streaming.
Ooh,
Exactly.
let me
Yeah.
know. I love the exclusives, baby.
Yeah.
Now,
Yes.
but you know what? In 2026 now, like with technology the way it is and how compact everything is, And 20 years ago, 30 years ago, shooting your own movie would have been horrible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's hard, yeah.
But now it's like you have everything. You have all the professional stuff at your fingertips. You know what?
Yeah.
If you can't afford the right cameras, you could rent them. If you
Yeah.
you know if you know the right people, you could borrow somebody's laptop who has the right software on it.
Right.
And like I said earlier, if you're actually looking to achieve something, the universe is going to provide you a way to get that done. It might not be your preferred method, but it's gonna get done.
Yeah.
So I need to mention this. I'm doing this right now on a MacBook Neo, which is a $600 laptop. You can get a iPhone. The cheapest iPhone now is about $600. That's 1,200 right there. Apple's editing software with all their things is $12 now for a really high-end editing software. You could make a movie right now, and I recommend
Yeah.
we talked about an iPhone and a Mac combined because if you wait 5 minutes, that video you filmed on your phone is going to pop up on your computer. So you don't got to worry about transferring it. Everything you need is going to be right there. And it takes you being willing to do it. And I will say this, if you're only making a movie with your phone, limit yourself to what you're doing and think, what can I make with what I have?
Yeah.
The reason I got to make Hillsborough Road is because I made this short film called Her Name Was Samantha. That's the movie I made where I met my, lawyer, EP friend Robert. We shot that movie in my apartment in Lodi, New Jersey, the day after Christmas. It's a 3-minute short. There's no sound, there's no dialogue in it. All the dialogue comes from radios and voiceovers because I knew I couldn't afford a sound person.
Yeah.
I knew I couldn't afford to do a movie longer than 3 minutes because that's another. I thought, well, if I make my movie 3 minutes, when I submit it to film festivals, even if it's just okay, they're gonna need to fill in slots for their
Yeah.
festival and like, hey, you know what? This 3 minute short, it's not the most amazing one, but it's pretty good. Let's fill it in so we can go to the next one. When
It's
you
really good,
limit,
by the way.
thank you. When you limit yourself to what you have, it's going to force you to be more creative. And
Yeah.
then you could really flourish from that. Like if you gave someone a brand new filmmaker $1 million and said, make whatever you want, it's just you have 1 week. They're not going to know what to do. They're going to come up with something that's $5 million.
Right.
But if you tell them, listen, you've got $2,000, 1 week, what could you come up with? Then after that, you'll get the $1,000. You're going to think, okay, I have my room. What could I make within this area? And it's going to force you. And then that will get you your next job, your next thing.
Yeah, because what you're basically saying is that you're basically putting the proof in the pudding.
Right.
You're
Exactly.
you're basically saying, I did this with this limited amount of time, with this budget, and with this limited equipment. I was able to flourish with this. Imagine what I could do with, let's say, $100,000 budget or whatever.
Exactly. I always think about, the Joker and the Dark Knight. Look at
Yeah.
everything I accomplished with a little bit of gasoline and bullets.
Yo,
You know,
Heath Ledger killed that role, man.
Yeah.
Oh, he unbelievable. He was a great actor. He was.
You want to see a great Heath Ledger movie? Check out Lords of Dogtown. That movie is so good. It's all about it's all about the beginning of skateboarding, the PAL.
Yeah.
Oh man, it is amazing. That he deserved an Oscar for too.
Yeah, he did.
If I could, really quick, the other day is Eric. I think one of the most horrible things about social media and YouTube. YouTube is great, but you have all these people on there going, "Hey, you need to have this camera, you need to have this lighting, you need to have this, you need to have this," and I think they're doing a high high injustice to creative people, because I think they're kind of putting, and you guys may have no like feelings about this, but it's like they're throwing a wet blanket, because they're saying, if you don't have this, 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 then what's the point? You're not going to be Steven Spielberg. You're not going to make a movie. And I think that's the most horrible
Well,
thing
you see,
that
here's the
anybody can
thing.
watch and
A
listen
lot
to.
of times when they mention how great the camera is, if you pay attention or look in the stuff, it's a sponsored video.
No, Eric, that doesn't count. I don't know. There's nothing. And
Yeah,
people don't
no, but
understand that. It's like
but
crazy.
you have to remember, YouTube isn't what it used to be. You got,
Very, very
No,
true.
not at all.
and it's like, and the difference between what the conception of YouTube was, and like its origin versus what it is now, is like,
Mhm.
even though YouTube is amazing, YouTube
Yes.
is
Yeah.
amazing. You can learn anything you want to do through
Look at
YouTube,
the
right?
box office right now. Two
Yeah,
YouTubers beat Star Wars in the box office this month.
yeah. But like I was saying, the difference between then and now is like the discoverability for like smaller channels is very hard to get up there.
Yes.
You know, if you don't put, and the thing about it is like they're always updating the algorithm. So like you don't know what SEOs they're using now.
Right.
You don't know what's gonna throttle your videos. And then they put so much emphasis on, oh, this is the way you go viral. This is the way you do this. And this is the way you do that. I'm like, as a small creative person, I'm like, bro, like I just want to put my stuff out there, and I hope that that your platform puts it out to
Amen.
people.
Yeah, 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 and yeah, don't even get me started with the algorithm, because that's when people start to become sensational. And I don't even want to get in. The most horrible thing is to not listen to your instinct as a creative person.
Yeah,
The
Exactly.
worst thing you could probably do, and I mean this in the loosest way possible, is to listen to all the people who say, you need this, you need this, you need this, when all you need is a phone, or I've got a little Canon.
yeah,
That and we were gonna shoot Hillsborough Road with it,
On that,
but
yeah.
we found a guy with a Black Magic, a little mini
yeah.
pocket Black Magic, and we were like, let's do it. And we had a sound guy, sound good, looks great, sounds great, and that's what we did it with three lights,
Yeah.
three three panel, three little panel lights. Middle of the night, we shot it. We went in, did some color and some cool little stuff in the editing. Looks fantastic, if I do say so myself.
Oh, yeah.
But I think, and see, that's what kind of gets me riled up, is the people that tell you, you need this, you need that, you don't. I mean, that's great, but then again, you're like, man, I just want to make a movie. Now I got to have 14 things, so
No,
never mind.
but Larry, just to like combat you a little bit on that.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not the fact that I truly believe, like, when you have, unless they're like tech people who review like technology,
Right,
like
right, right.
like that one dude, I completely forgot his name. Damn,
I know who you're talking about. He's
no,
in
you
the
know what I'm
city,
talking.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, Slim Cat with a flat top.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. His
Yeah,
name
like he
Marcus
reviews all the
Marquez
technology.
something.
He reviews all the technology. Like,
Yeah.
unless you're like a channel like that you're reviewing tech, I truly feel that if like a filmmaker drops content like that, oh, you need this camera or these lights, you're just doing it for the views and the clicks now, bro.
Amen to that.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
Like, unless you're like I said, unless you're a tech channel or you always been like a camera
Yeah.
enthusiast, I really feel that you're just doing it for the clicks and the likes and the
The comments.
the monetization portion of that channel. But I also get it because you need that check.
That's the, you know what? That's how it's pushing it. That's what
Yeah.
Yeah.
what it's come to.
And I also hate the fact that your channel has to be in a certain niche and you have to word things
Yeah.
a certain way, and it like
It,
kind of like limits you and then like puts more work in your plate because
yeah.
like, let's say you have this one idea but it doesn't fall into the quote unquote niche of
Oh,
your
man.
channel.
Yeah.
You have to start up a whole new channel just for that and all
That's
that.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying. That's what I.
Well, I
That's
think,
what.
like you said,
Yeah.
with YouTube not being what it was in the beginning, was it went from this fun thing to share stuff with to it becoming a career.
Yeah.
And once it becomes that, you have to treat it differently.
Yep.
You know, it's like, let's say all three of us had really nice, brand new, now let's say 2010 Hondas. Good, reliable car. Will get you to point A from point B, but are you going to baby it that much?
No.
Probably not. But then let's say we all had 2026 Ferraris.
Yes.
You're going to baby that thing so much. You're never going to drive it because
Right.
you want
No.
to take care of it. You know, it means something more now.
Yeah.
When YouTube was just something for fun, you didn't care about your niche. You know, you could do a review about a movie, but then also a vlog going to the store and what you're buying.
Yeah.
But now that you have to be an online personality, it's changed everything. And I think that's warped the way people watch stuff. Like
Yeah.
again, I think
And
that when it
create
comes
stuff.
to
Yeah.
when it comes to the film industry, I think the second we started calling movies content, that was a problem. Again, I like YouTube. I'll watch YouTube, but I don't think we should consider The Godfather and a Casey Neistat video the same thing. And I like Casey Neistat, don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
if you're going to call everything content, that's a problem, and that warps the way people engage with something.
Right.
And also, it kind of like takes away the magic and the mystique of the arts.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like making a movie is an art form in itself. Making music is an art form. Even doing YouTube and creating
It
quote unquote
is.
content, which I hope like later in the future they find a better term for it. It's its own art form as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you are
Yeah.
filming, you are editing, you are putting on all
Yeah,
these
yeah.
hats. You know?
I mean, you know, and you know as well as anybody the other day is like, you know, to when you watch something and normal people go, man, I want to do that. And then they actually do it and they're like, how do people do this? It
Yeah,
takes so long.
yeah,
What do I do? And how do I, and people don't get it. But when you do it, you're like, dude, you don't know how time consuming, not necessarily hard, but just time consuming. Because once you get it down, but you know, that's one of the things that's like I think it's lost on people because everybody's doing it, they make it look easy and you know, I mean it's tough. It's very tough and I think it's tough for a filmmaker, a content creator. I think it's tough for a creative to keep up with all this stuff these days
yeah,
that they have to do in order just to have I look at Instagram totally different now because it's almost like I got to do this, I got to do that. Just kind of it takes the fun away from it
yeah.
because it
It
used to be
truly does.
fun, but now it's got to like you got to look like this, you got to do this, you got to do that, and it's just kind of like man, when can we just go back to the good old days? We're just like, hey, yo, people, what's up? We got a brand new video out dropping right now, and that's it. But now it's like, hello, everybody. My
Because
name is
like
Larry.
because all the major platforms and you know, God bless Google, right? But all
Right.
the major platforms like YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and now even TikTok, they're becoming less entertainment and more of a search engine.
Oh,
Right.
completely. Yeah, yeah.
You know, like YouTube is the second largest search engine compared to Google. You know what I mean?
That's crazy. That's
And then
crazy.
now the third largest search engine, or at least becoming the third largest search engine, is Instagram.
Yeah.
That's
Because
crazy. That's crazy.
now the algorithm is rewarding people that only cater to certain things. Like it's no longer you know how can I say? Oh, if you want to see car videos, you go to like this person's page.
Right.
No, it's
Yeah.
now it's like how to build cars, and like you have
Right.
pages just for that
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
teaches you how to build
Yeah.
a car.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's crazy because Mitzi shows me something. My wife shows me something on TikTok. I go, good luck with that. Now that's all you're gonna get fed.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's crazy, and I think that's a big Look, this. You know, it's funny because we started talking about our film, but as a creative whole, this is probably the problem with you get a one track mind and you only think about one thing and one thing only, and I think that's a horrible thing to do, especially as a creative because you want to keep your flora open. You want to keep your, it's like a Care Bear stare. You always want to
Yeah.
keep it open instead of like, I gotta find my lane. No, man, all the whole creative space is your lane, and I think you
Yeah.
should keep it that way. But we're just being taught, not little by little anymore, in a big segment to think one way, and I don't think that's a good thing at all. So yeah.
And even if you double down on a particular subject and whatnot, you should have the creative ability to like explore that subject. You feel me? Like let's say for instance you're a gamer, right? I shouldn't only have to be only playing my game, playing the game that I'm good at. I should be able to be the worst player in this game, or
Yeah.
you feel
Yeah.
me? Or sit back and watch gaming clips and be like, nah, this person sucks. You
Right.
feel me, or whatever. And
Exactly.
my channel or my platform shouldn't be, penalized because I switched up because I wanted to do something else creative in that lane. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
horrible. That's horrible. Thank you, Instagram. Thank you, Meta.
Thank you, all you big platforms that we're trying
Well,
to take over.
I
Exactly.
think it's because the internet just isn't fun anymore
No.
at all.
True.
Like, you know what I would do if MySpace came back and it was the way it used to be? I would gladly pay $20 a month for the old school MySpace. With being able to customize everything,
Oh
it's
yeah,
all I would go to.
when you had to code down your whole profile.
Oh my God, yes. Like, remember Pimp My MySpace? I
Yep.
would do that all day, man.
Man.
Yeah.
Now everything is so corporate and minimalist. I hate minimalism so much.
Yeah, minimalism does take the vibrancy out of life, bro.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is like, especially when you see like pictures of like how things used to be back in like the early 2000s, 90s, and
I
the
miss those
80s,
days,
Yeah.
man.
and all the color and all those like different things that were happening
Yeah.
versus now where everything is looking like the Apple Store.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And everybody,
Yeah.
you have to this may be horrible to say, but I don't think as a creator, I'm not sure that you can censor yourself enough to where you're not going to be canceled or afraid to be canceled. I think that's a horrible thing too, because I think, and correct me, no matter what, whether it's a comedy, especially man, the
Oh my
comedy's
god,
coming back, right? With
I'm hoping.
was it Scary Movie?
Scary Movie
I've
6
seen
was
parts of that.
awesome.
Yeah,
Dude,
it was good. It was good.
dude,
It
talk
was
about
good.
stepping out. You know what? I think there is a tide that's turning to where,
Yeah.
like the last couple of years, everybody was afraid to be themselves and to say, have fun. But I remember in the early 2000s, man, living in Los Angeles, we were living it up. We were going places, we were doing things,
Oh
we were
yeah.
having fun, and now it's different. It's just and
Because
I think
everybody's quote unquote woke.
yeah, and I
Yeah.
think look, being woke that's fine. But I think once you start with the arts and being woke, and you think that a certain movie saying certain things or having fun or poking fun or the seriousness of it is woke, then I think that's where we all go wrong, because every movie that's ever been made has come from somewhere that started as a truth to somebody.
Sure, I'm not.
And
Sure, I'm not.
and to look somebody in the eye and go, how could you make that movie? Wouldn't you be shocked if somebody did an anti-woke movie and they go, why'd you do it? They go, because I lived through it. And it was
Yeah.
the worst
Hmm.
movie ever. And it was so blasphemous to the woke. And it's I think that's probably the worst thing that could ever happen, is to look at somebody in the eye and go, you can't tell that story. That's not your job to do. Your job is to look at it and go, should I put it on my streamer? Should I put it in the theater? Yeah, okay, I'll do it.
Do it.
Yeah, and
Because
You
at
know.
the end of the day, man, and especially with comedy, is
uh,
like if we can't laugh at the situation or laugh at the
man,
problem,
And what's
that
the
problem
point?
isn't that serious.
that's true. That's very true. That's
You
very
know
You
what
true.
I
know,
That's
mean?
the
why
Because
thing is,
I have hope. Yeah. with
To
the
bring
ways.
this back to Hillsborough Road, yeah, it's an 80s slasher movie, but it's also really funny. I mean, some of the ways we kill people is hilarious, but the big thing is it's not mean. There
No.
isn't a mean bone in this movie. I mean, there's also something for everyone. There's this side story going on in the movie with these two kids who are like 13 or 14. And it's this really sentimental, heartwarming stuff with them amidst teenagers being
Chaos.
murdered in horrible ways.
Chaos. Yeah.
But that's the greatest thing about it. You know what I mean? You could be depicting a horror movie, and you could still have some little, some little warm-hearted, fuzzy moments at the
Oh
end
yeah. Oh
before they
yeah.
get
Yeah,
the head chopped off. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
And,
Exactly.
and with that one, guys, I'm gonna leave you guys with this one. This is something I ask all my guests. Do you have any final thoughts, words of wisdom, or advice for the roomies?
You want to go first, Larry?
Sure. I as and probably it's just a reiteration is do not ever listen to anybody that tell you you can't do something because you have the technology at your fingertips. You want to write a book? Write a book. You want to make music? That's a little bit harder, but you can still do it. You
Hmm.
you you want to make a movie? You want to make a short? Pick up your phone and just do it because the only way you're going to learn is by doing. And then in doing that, you have to be proud of what you create because
Yeah.
if you're not proud of it, nobody else is going to be proud of it. And just take ownership. Take ownership and be your own inspiration and wake up every day and go, I'm going to do this because this is what
Yeah.
I am going to do. So, yeah,
It's
thank you
great.
though.
My thing would be is always stay humble. Always stay humble, be true to yourself, and if you have a dream, chase it. Living life without a net is so important. And always look for the people, and there's two types of people you're going to meet in life. There's the why bother people and the why not people. The why not people are the ones you want to surround yourself with. Why not make a movie during a global pandemic? Why not try doing something like that? The why bother people are always going to bring you down.
Yeah,
Always find whoever your North Star is and always go towards that.
yeah, yeah.
I feel you. I feel you. And roomies, with that being said, it's 2026. If you want to do something, you don't have an excuse not to do it anymore.
That's
The
right.
technology's there, the people are there, and if you really want it, the universe will provide. And with that, peace out.